Saya boleh sekali.
Timing. Tadi saya tak salah. Ah tu. Cuba masuk dah. Saya tak boleh masuk. Saya akan bagi yang macam tu. Saya dah tak juga untuk tak ada. Kadang tak ada.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Can we begin today's session? Because now it's already 3:07. So can we begin today's session with the recitation of Kitab? Alhamdulillah. So I am serving as the MC as well as giving the welcome speech as the CTAIS director. So please allow me to do the welcome speech after this, so that then it is followed by the lecture. I think tentatively about 1 hour, and then we will have Professor Amir as the discussant. And then we will have the closing speech followed by some token of appreciation. So we should end by 5 p.m. Inshallah. Okay, so thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon to all of you who has made time to come here. Yang berbahagia Professor Emeritus Datuk Dr. Osman Bakar, who is Director of the International Islamic University of Malaysia, IIUM. And our discussant for today's lecture, Yang berbahagia Professor Dr. Amir Akramin Shafi'i, as well as the Dean of the Kuliah for ICT, Yang berbahagia Professor Emeritus Datuk Dr. Tengku Muhammad, Tengku Sembuk, distinguished guests, respected colleagues, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure on behalf of the IIUM Center for Tauhidic AI Studies, or better known as CTAIS, to welcome you to today's inaugural CTAIS lecture series. We are deeply honored to host this lecture, and the first one will be delivered by our very beloved own Rector, Professor Emeritus Datuk Dr. Osman Bakar, who is a distinguished scholar, philosopher, and thought leader, whose intellectual contributions have shaped discourses on Islamic philosophy, ethics, science, and civilization, both within IIUM and far beyond. We are truly privileged to benefit from his insights this afternoon. We are also honored to have Professor Dr. Amir Akramin Shafi as the discussant for today's lecture. His scholarly engagement will enrich the discourse by offering critical reflections and perspectives that deepen our collective understanding of the subject matter. The topic of today's lecture is AI, or artificial intelligence, and the development of critical thinking, which is highly timely and significant as artificial intelligence increasingly permeates our educational systems, our workplaces, and daily lives. The central question before us is no longer merely about the technological capability, but it is also more importantly about the human judgment, ethical discernment, and intellectual responsibility. So at this juncture, CTAIS would like to record its deep appreciation and gratitude to the Kuliah of ICT for its generosity and vision in embracing the center and willingly adopting CTAIS under its wings. So this collegial support reflects the true spirit of collaboration within IIUM and has provided CTAIS with a strong academic home from which it can grow, flourish, and contribute meaningfully to the university's intellectual and ethical discourse on artificial intelligence. Ladies and gentlemen, we establish, or IIUM established CTAIS with the aspiration to advance research, education, and more importantly, dialogue on artificial intelligence that is ethically grounded, human-centric, and aligned with the Tauhidic worldview, and hence the name of Center for Tauhidic AI Studies. And programs such as this lecture should reflect our ongoing commitment to fostering thoughtful engagement on the societal, moral, and intellectual implications of emerging technologies such as AI. And I tell you, there will be many other technologies in the horizon coming. Yeah? So do not be caught by surprise. So we hope that today's lecture and discussion will inspire meaningful reflection and robust intellectual exchange amongst all of us. So with that, it is my great honor to invite Professor Emeritus Dato Dr. Osman Bakar to deliver his lecture entitled Artificial Intelligence and the Development of Critical Thinking. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Professor Dr. Rus Alinda, Director of, we call it CTAIS, CTAIS Center for Tawhidic AI Studies, which at the moment is located within KICT. There is the Kuliah of Information and Communication Technology. Okay, Brother Professor Dr. Amir, the Principal Director of Academic and Internationalization Office Division, Professor Emeritus Datuk Dr. Tengku Muhammad Sembuk, Dean of the KICT, participants, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for attending this program today. I would like to thank Professor Alinda for preparing for this event today. Yeah. I'm going to speak on the topic artificial intelligence and development of critical thinking. By way of introduction, let us say a few words about these CTIs. A bit has already been mentioned by Professor Alinda, but I want to say a few more words about that. The rationale for the formation of this center, CTIs. Of course, everyone knows that AI is a very, very important subject today, getting more and more important, but getting also more and more controversial. There are many controversial issues surrounding the subject of AI. So, in that sense, the center is a logical outcome of this development surrounding AI. The second thing is about the resources, the human resources within this university itself. So I made my own survey. So I came to realize that actually there are a good number of academics in the university who are not only interested in the field of AI, but also have the knowledge and the expertise. Although mainly from the perspective of their own main field of civilization. For example, we have engineers, in the academics in the engineering faculty, several of them involved in basically research and studies on AI. In quantum campus, for example, Com, Kuliah of Medicine, they have their experts in terms of applying AI to their own medical field, studies and research. even the kuliah or faculty of dentistry also involved in applying application of AI. I'm happy to note that I'm one of the patients who have been treated by them by using AI. So I saw that, experienced that myself. Yeah. And so on. So basically, I thought they are all scattered in different parts of the university. Rarely they talk to each other. They rarely talk to each other. They only do their own work. Oh, that cannot be. Cannot be. This university has embarked on Tawhidi epistemology, which means that all parts of the university work in unison, work together. So Tawhidi epistemology says, let us approach AI, let's study AI from the Tawhidi perspective, in which our jobs, our work relating to this are all interrelated, interdependent. Interrelated, interconnected, interdependent. That is the spirit I thought would be born by this CTAIS. Yeah, CTAIS will symbolize, will be symbol of that scholarly approach. So that's why the name Center for Tawhidic AI Studies, yeah, with that in mind. So the name as well is not just in name, but also in its mission. Now, the second point here, it has been emphasized, ethics is important. And the Prime Minister, PMX, has said quite often that for us Malaysians, for us Muslims, the pursuit of AI must be within an ethical framework. It is so AI is not it's not value free. It's not value free in the sense that also even those who don't talk about values, but when they pursue AI studies and activities, they operate within a particular epistemological framework. So in our case, it is within Tawhidic framework. So that's it. Now, regarding this program today, so we discuss with KICT and the new center, it would be a good thing if we can have a series, a lecture series on the subject of AI. So I told them I don't mind kicking off the series with my own lecture, and can have it once a month. Is that once a month? Yes, once a month. That one, the job of the director to make sure that the series is going, inshallah. We even have decided who is going to be the second speaker, third speaker, and so on. But the point is, we will touch all dimensions of AI. Nothing is left, in a sense, untouched. Yeah, we want to look at all aspects of AI. Yeah, from the viewpoint of all disciplines, and of course the future of AI also. Yeah? So we have here someone here from the Institute of Future Studies, Scott. So his outfit has later on also has to enter into the picture to give a talk on the future of AI. Inshallah. Okay. All right. So we see that's the rationale, and of course whatever transpires here, and so on, we publish them, we discuss them, we debate on them. We want this to be openly debated. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So basically, as the first lecture, come to question of on what should I speak. So I thought the logical thing to do would be for me to follow up on my article that was published not long ago in the journal Muslim 500, published by the Royal what do you call this, Jordan, yeah. So basically this next one. I just want to show. Okay, yes, I'm talking about this. The Muslim 500. This is a yearly journal, yeah, annual journal. Basically, the why is named that featuring the world's the 500 most important, most influential Muslim. So, in that journal, in that issue, which came out November last year, I contributed one article titled "Artificial Intelligence and the Future of Creative Thinking, a reflection from Islamic perspective." Here, yes, do it there, future. But today's talk is not future. Yeah, it is development. It is development. This is something, of course, not entirely the same, but related, no doubt. Yeah. So basically, go back to the earlier. Okay. Yeah. Artificial intelligence and the future of creative thinking. That is the title for my talk today. Now, you can access the article, yeah, but here I just want to summarize the content of that article, which is basically, in a sense, that the summary is for the purpose of linking that, providing the background for my talk this afternoon. First, basically comments and basically a summary in this a summary of positions, intellectual positions I'm taking on AI. So the first thing, critical thinking is an aspect of creative thinking. So it's not the two do not mean the same thing. Yeah? Critical thinking and creative thinking. You can be critical without being creative. They need to think about that. Yeah. So creative thinking is closer to what we understand in an Islamic tradition as ijtihad. Yeah. The only thing that the term is popularized in the field of Islamic law, in the field of fiqh, yeah, on that. But if we understand ijtihad in the general sense, in the philosophical sense, then it applies to thinking in all domains of thought, in all disciplines. In all disciplines, you need creative thinking. But we know psychologically we have been influenced that basically ijtihad is a jurisprudential term. It is true, but it's not limited by that. Yeah. So if you understand it in the general sense, creative, then it will be better for us rather than limit to a particular discipline. Okay. So this is again. The question of critical thinking is a necessary condition for knowledge advancement. Critical thinking is necessary. Now, I think basically I know critical thinking is not understood in everybody in the same in the same way. Yeah, but basically there are several aspects to critical thinking as I understand it. Now, let's say, for example, the Quran says that when we receive news from any source, we should verify that news, the source of that news, the rationality of that news. Verify in every sense of the word so that it's confirmed as either truth or untruth. That's it. So it is something which even the Quran, in other words, but many people do not have that, especially nowadays in this fake age. Fake age, huh? In this fake age, the age when fake items, fake news, fake, even fake persons. I don't know. There are some fake persons, fakes. Yeah. So fakeness is the rampant, so that you cannot distinguish anymore between truth and untruth. The true from the untrue. Who is true? Who is not true? What is true and not true? We are in very confusing times. Yeah. But critical thinking still is is important. It's necessary. I give you an instance now at the university level among scholars. All right. You know, in Islamic epistemology, when we talk about a scientific discipline, a science such as history, sociology, economics, all these are sciences. But according to the Muslim epistemologists in the past, in classical time, there are four fundamental criteria to determine whether a science is true or not. It is authentic or not. It is a full-fledged scientific discipline or not. Yeah, four. What are the four aspects? Then one, that branch of knowledge has well-defined subject matter. Maudu. That clear, defined, the subject matter. All right. What is the subject matter of economics? It's very well defined. What is the subject matter of psychology? Well defined. The second element, the second aspect now, that discipline must have principles, that, the term used, assumptions. We must have assumptions, fundamental assumption about the subject matter. Without those assumptions, you cannot proceed. You cannot proceed to study that side. Yeah. If from the beginning you are not sure that this world in which we live is real, then you forget about trying to study it. Yeah. We all accept that the world in which we live is real. We can study that world objectively. You can gain knowledge from that world. All those are assumptions. Can you prove? You cannot prove within that discipline. You cannot even that discipline. So you have to assume that they are true. So which means the for the majority, we don't question those assumptions. Don't question them. But according to Ibn Sina, for example, no, although most people who study in that discipline assume or accept the assumption, but they don't bother whether those assumptions are correct or correct or not. Yeah, but said those assumptions can be proved in another discipline, in another science, which occupies a higher epistemological position. The lower cannot judge the higher can judge the lower. Yeah, these judges, they are these the middle court judges. I mean, you cannot question the decisions of the higher court. The higher court can question that. Yeah. So you have that even in epistemology. But the point is, this critical thinking at that level, not the level just not about fake news and so on. It's about something more. So critical thinking is accepted at various level. Yeah, various level. So that's why I said critical thinking is important for knowledge of advancement. Now, later on, going to have to ask. I mean, can AI contribute? In what way can this AI can contribute to critical thinking. Yeah. So we have to understand what critical thinking is. All right. But my next statement in that article that I wrote, there has been a progressive decline in critical thinking in the last 50 years. How do I know it? What is my proof? Well, I get the arguments from various, of course. The first thing is from the existing literature on critical thinking. And in other words, there are many great scholars now, contemporary scholars now in both the East and the West, who are claiming that there's a decline in critical thinking. Okay, yeah. So that's one argument from that, just simply from looking at the literature. If you don't know that literature, then we are unable to decide whether it is true or not. There's been a decline. Yeah. The second source is, of course, by looking at the development of curriculum in universities, in schools, in colleges. Yeah. Although there's such a subject as critical thinking, but it's nothing compared to the literature on the art of thinking. The art of thinking in various civilizations, in Islamic civilization, in Western civilization before modern time. Yeah. So basically, if you look at that, the curricula, you can see the emphasis of teaching of thinking skills. The emphasis, not emphasis. The emphasis. Yeah? In the last 10 years, you just look around. So have we made more emphasis on teaching or thinking skill or not? No. Like now with the AI, with the less emphasis, yeah, less thinking, because it's there. Just use it. Just let's say press the button. Now, and so what I mean, the emphasis of teaching or thinking skill, decreasing attention to sources of thinking skills. The art of problem solving is no longer part of learning. The art of problem solving. Although there's AI tools, they have games, yeah. But now, is that are those games only for pure fun, or those games make use of in the sense of as learning something part of it? They're two different things. You play this game just simply for fun, but now you play those games with the with the idea of upgrading thinking skill. They're two different, consciously. So the art of problem solving. My time, art of problem solving, when I was young, when I was in school, when I was in primary school, at that time there was no technological tool, nothing. Yeah, I have nothing. So what was the method used for my generation? I'm talking about the 1950s, 1960s. You know, I don't have gadgets. I don't have your gadgets. You know, go to school, bring gadget. I don't have. I'm nothing. Yeah. So it was through arithmetic and mathematics. Arithmetic and mathematics, I learned the art of problem solving, to solve. In fact, basically that is the role. That was the role of mathematics at that time. Yeah. And very interestingly, the art of problem solving is not only to solve mathematical problems. In other words, yes, I learned about solving mathematical problems, but now I realize no. I mean, I was able to have that sense of trying to solve all problems, because of that skill I gained in mathematics. So I'm sure that applies to other areas, but specific lessons in thinking skill, but the usefulness is general. Yeah? I think, okay. So if you say that AI can contribute, then make that something which is really so. Yeah. Then, of course, the deprivation of quality time for reflection and contemplation. How many minutes per day, even for adults? How many minutes per day, per night, that we really have our mind reflection, contemplation? We don't have time. No time for that. Yeah. Istilah di Malaysia, renungan. Yeah, we say renungan. Not renungan dengan mata kasar, tapi renungan dengan akal. Akal boleh merenung. Bukan mata saja boleh merenung. Dah, but do you give time to our intellect or reason to contemplate? We don't have time. We don't have time. So one big casualty, of course, is that, yeah, as a result of technology. So over dependence on AI, this another thing. Over dependence on AI, technological educational tools at the expense of NI. This is very important. Every human being has intelligence, God-given intelligence. That is natural intelligence. NI. Now we want to play God. So just as God created natural intelligence, now we want to play the role of creator, something like God created. Now we want to create AI. Okay. Yeah, but this is very important thing for us to reflect. Yeah. Are we pursuing AI at the expense of an I? We need to reflect on this. Well, I mentioned here in the article, I refer to studies by Karolinska Institute, Sweden. Karolinska Sweden. It's a very well-known research institute. Basically, it belongs to the medical school in Sweden, Karolinska Institute. For 20 years, basically, they were looking at their experiment in digital education. Basically, it's a concern. Yeah, what is the impact of digital education on the human mind? Yeah? So they study about a 20-year period. Yeah. So in the last 5 years of that, that was the last in the group, and they studied mainly over for school children, say up to 12 years. And what's the impact of that? Yeah. So the finding was very shocking. Yeah. Or some say it's understandable. In other words, for those young kids who have been overexposed, how overexposed it? Overexposed about 4 hours per day. To be exposed to 4 hour days of to this screen, have negative impact on the brain. On the brain. In other words, the cerebral function, the function of the brain was impaired as a result of that. And therefore, that causes, it has impact on creative thinking, because to the extent that creative thinking uses the brain. Yeah, you can refer to this publication by this Karolinska Institute in Sweden. Yeah, so for many years, Swedish school, no textbook. Everything is laptop. Everything is on the screen. No textbook. Yeah, nothing on physical words. Nothing. So, but then because of that result, the instruction from the new Ministry of Education say textbooks back in school. Textbooks back in school. Of course, all this is not a question of either or. It's a question of either or. The question now, how much is a healthy exposure? But the point of the study, it's not over excessive. It affects. So in other words, the creative thinking is affected by that. And it's very important for our educationists, and certainly I would like the kuliah of education in this university make a study, proper study, yeah, and should be part of that. Professor Alinda, I think I told you already. Please talk to your colleagues in this kuliah of education, make a proper study, and basically to advise the Ministry of Education and so on. And this should be the work of basically an integrated approach involving experts from various fields. So that one, yeah. Now the other one is research by MIT's Media Lab. MIT's Media Lab carried out a study among users of basically of AI, yeah. But they also comparing different group. But one of the group is users of natural intelligence. One of the group, those who don't use, and found that the most energetic, the most dynamic, the most intelligent, creative, not the users, not on the effort of Google or on the open AI, no, but it is those who do natural intelligence. But it is not a mess. I'm not saying because of this incident, not telling the government no more AI. Yeah. But this question, basically, what should be the appropriate use of that? Okay. And then say the need to restore the traditional outlook thinking to its rightful place. Yeah. Basically what I mean, I say more of that later. Basically, traditional outlook thinking is what, in the case of Islamic civilization, is mantiq, it's logic in the Western tradition, the legacy of Aristotle. Okay, that. So the art of thinking, the creative thinking has many aspects. Critical thinking also has many different aspects. So of course, we cannot revive the whole of the logical corpus, the mantic of the Muslim, but we can study, choose. Basically, that's the role of academics. Which aspect of the traditional art of thinking would be still useful in our context? Okay, next. How many minutes more? You give me 1 hour, kan? Or this was still happening? Huh? Again. Oh, then that I feel luxury. Okay, still that. All right. Now, natural intelligence as necessary background for artificial intelligence discourse. So this is my plea, my request, basically. And in the light of Tawhidi epistemology, let us study, let us discourse on artificial intelligence in the light of our rich tradition of natural intelligence. So this way, we will win. This is, in other words, we can be very creative in the study of natural intelligence, even inventing new tools and so on, provided all these are done in the light of natural intelligence. Don't leave aside natural intelligence. That's my argument. Yeah, our own natural intelligence. this is one, natural intelligence is one of the areas where Muslim contribution was really great. A great treasury of Muslim thought on the concept of natural intelligence as used in the word, for example, aqlun, intellect, reason, even in the other part of intelligence, which we call the basically this what you call this imaginal intelligence. Imaginal intelligence, which is different, talking about from the intellect. Yeah? Every human being has this part. Yeah? In other words, imaginal intelligence, the faculty of the imaginal faculty that Muslim philosophers, scientists spoke about. Yeah. So it's very interesting how the idea of intelligence is approached by these Muslim scientists and philosophers in the past. For example, our five physical senses. Yeah. Seeing, hearing, tasting, and smelling, and you know, they call them intelligences. Yeah, but these are physical senses because intelligence means consciousness. To say intelligence means to have consciousness. We have different intelligences because there are different consciousnesses. Yeah? Some intelligences are more intelligent than others. Plants is for example, plants, they have the intelligence. Plants have intelligence. Animals have intelligence, of course, and of course, human being. Angels have intelligence. Even shaitan has intelligence. But the satanic intelligence. But they have intelligence. Yeah. So intelligence, of course, the highest is divine intelligence. God Himself is the supreme intelligence. He's the source of all intelligence. It's very interesting that in Arabic, the plural aqlun, uqul, they refer to angels as uqul. Yeah? So uqul is not only to human being, but also to angels. Yeah? But it's intelligence without body. Intelligence without body. We are intelligence with a physical body. But they are intelligent without body. Robotic intelligence has body. Yeah? Body invented by man. Yeah? You say that robot is intelligent. Yeah. You create the intelligence, but it is artificial intelligence. Now, you've got natural intelligence. So that's it. Now, what do I mean now in natural intelligence as background for studying AI? My arguments. First, what's the rationale? The rationale is AI is created by an eye. That is obvious. Obvious, everybody. We create. We, the natural intelligence, create AI. A creature, and again, it's a matter of logic, not certainly for philosophers. A creature cannot be greater than its creator. You create AI, now you raise AI more intelligent than you. That's absurd. That's absurd. This is what some people do now. They forgot that they created it. Now they want to give the value of invisibility and so on, all things to the AI. Yeah. Now, NI to guide studies. We need NI to guide studies, to guide research, to guide applications of AI. When we apply also, we need NI to guide. Why? What's the goodness about that? Why NI should guide? Yeah. Well, I think this is where the role of Tawhidi epistemology comes in. Yeah. For example, with the help of Tawhidi epistemology, we can verify cognitive and knowledge claims made in the name of AI. There are claims made now in the name of AI. Some may be true, some may be not. But in all cases, we should be guided by Tawhidi epistemology, of course, which affirms an I. Yeah. So to verify that, we need to verify truth. This is something, one area. I know our friend Reza. Brother Reza? Oh, nice to see you here. Okay, this was Reza. Thank you. You know, because he embraced Tawhidi epistemology. That's like about him. He embraced Tawhidi epistemology. Now he wants to apply. He wants to apply that to practical, to take any things, to how to verify, because he's concerned about fake claims. It's not how to fake claim. Yeah, so many fake claims out there, and so. Tawhidi epistemology, he thinks, no, it's not, I don't have that knowledge. I only have theoretical knowledge, philosophical knowledge, but he has how to apply it. Then, so it is possible to verify knowledge claims made. And these claims are everywhere in cyberspace. These claims are made in cyberspace. Yeah, he's part of the CTAIS now. He's part of the IS. Inshallah, he'll play a big role. We're more concerned with security issues. Okay, now, so if that is the case, all this, we need experts on cognitive psychology. So where is cognitive psychology taught? Is it taught in department of any psychology in our university? Suppose so, yeah. But they should pay more attention. Certainly, we should get some of them to the center, to CTAIS. Yeah. We must have experts on cognitive psychology as well as cognitive science. Because this area is the area which we're going to discuss about this physical intelligence. Physical intelligence, like seeing, hearing, and so on. Yeah. Ideally, we all should go for natural development of our, say, for example, of our intelligence of associated with our sight. Yeah, basically, it's good eyes, good natural eyes. Yeah, because we must have that power. But the actual thing happening is not good. It's not good. Yeah. At my age, I don't wear spectacle. But now my granddaughter is wearing. What happened? What happened to the natural eye? What happened to the natural eye? Most of you here in this room, wearing spectacle. Yeah. But I'm still without that. Yeah. There must be something. Is it because we eat less nutritional food? No. Today compared to 50 years ago, it's better. Yeah. I studied not using this neon. It's a lamp, glitter. I say using that candle. Yeah. So there must be something going on. Yeah. So in other words, the loss of that natural power, which happens to be part of the natural intelligences. And the question of memory is part of what you call just now as imaginal intelligence. Yeah, they call Muslim philosophers, theologians call them the internal senses. Yeah, of course, dakhil. Yeah, internal senses. Yeah, memory. Well, the argument say, well, why do you need to memorize? You remember long before how victory was given basically education had the victory over natural intelligence. The argument that when you have the technical tools, why do we need to memorize? But now the issue of the usefulness of memory is in a sense revived among certain groups of educationists. In other words, it's no longer that like that. They forget about having to memorize. Yeah, because there is a difference between storing information in the computer or storing information in video and tapes and so on, compared with storing information in the head. Right? Because why do you have that argument? Well, you have the technology to record on it. Why bother to memorize? Yeah. Of course, I mean, we can memorize everything. Therefore, we do need technological. That's basically that's God's way. Yeah. In other words, why the question of the role, the positive role of technology? Yes, to complement our natural power, but not entirely to kind of erase that natural memory, because it's different. In the case of data preserved inside the head, inside the mind, that is in a state of, in a dynamic state. In other words, those data were being used continuously by the mind. Whereas if it is in the artificial product, it's just simply that. No. This is now some studies by psychologists. In some extent, there's a difference between data stored in your brain and data stored in a machine. In machines, it's just idle, nothing. But in brain, they can always be reused. It depends, of course, depends from individual to, varies from individual to more energetic mind, then the thing is working. In other words, the data in the state, always in the state of being used. So in other words, memory has not lost its function. And that's the important point. Memory has not lost its function. Continue. But of course, that doesn't mean that we don't need, especially when dealing with vast amount of data, there's no way that we can handle that. But there's some other function that needs to be preserved about memory. Certainly about memorizing the Quran, and that. Dia ada dia punya value, dia punya function. Okay. So of course, masih ini, because I'm talking about development of critical thinking, that the what do you call this? Not memory, I'm talking about imagination, the power of imagination. In the past, how do basically the imagination of children creatively develop? What's that? Actually, this is the thing. Memory is a form of intelligence. Memory is a form of intelligence. So when we memorize, so that dynamic state we associate with intelligence comes in. It comes in. It is memory, but basically all kinds of activities involve certain amount of imagination. Those who study child psychology, the question of consciousness and time and space. Children have different kinds of consciousness about time and space. And as they develop, that consciousness changes. There are only two types of consciousness that human beings have, basically. Consciousness of time and consciousness of space. For children, the early part of the in his childhood, the imagination is more about, basically, is about space rather than about time. It's time. It's a space. As we grow on, then it's basically getting towards more and more kind of equilibrium, balanced between consciousness and spirit. So that's why in these children, their consciousness of time is very, very low. Yeah, for them, it's all playing time. It's all playing time. Yeah, which is an exploration of space, basically. Yeah, so, something also when the toddler, the baby, yeah, when able to crawl, so he or she will pick up anything that comes across, put in the mouth, so it's kind of to taste. Basically, it's a simple tasting of experience. What the taste, yeah, explore the space. Yeah, you give them space, they will just explore. But they forget about the day and I just playing. You have that for the children. That's it. Okay. When we grow old, and I'm old, you know, older than there's more a question of time. That's why times become sometimes become we feel the experience that time becomes develops faster and faster. Times goes faster and faster. Yeah. I think one of my students here is studying, we're doing PhD on the mystery of time. Yeah, the end of time. So we have different that experience. But the main thing I want to talk is about is to develop the power of imagination, to imagine. According to Al-Farabi, yeah, the first kind of imagination in a child is more about mathematical world, the mathematical world. So the mathematical, they said a children develops his first imaginative power, his ability is in arithmetic. It's very interesting. Yeah, very interesting about that. Now, so anyway, we need experts on cognitive psychology and cognitive science. The development of a hierarchy of nature, we need to be aware of the hierarchy of natural intelligences, and we need to be aware to what is the process of development, the physical sense, the physical intelligence, and then go to the imaginal intelligence, then to intellectual intelligence. Yeah, so that's what I mean that physical, imaginal, intellectual, rational, and cardiac. Cardiac means referring to the heart, intelligence of the heart. Intelligence of the heart is different from the intelligence of the brain. Yeah, that's why in Islam, the heart is also a form of cognitive consciousness, not just sentimental thing, yeah? Not just a place, the seat of love, the seat of hate, but yeah, I'm talking about the knowledge that are found in the human being. So, in talking about, basically, we need to have experts who can talk about the development of critical thinking, the NI way, the natural intelligence way. We should have that. At the same time, now we want to produce AI experts. But here, talking about development of AI through experimental imitations of NI. Always bear in mind, AI is an imitation of NI in all aspects. And still, AI now wants to produce new emulations, new forms of emulation of NI. So the role of CTAIS is to deal with all these issues, both at theoretical and practical levels. That is for Professor Alinda. Right? Okay. Just one more. Now, artificial intelligence and ethics of knowledge. Next one, please. Okay. I think this is my last screen, basically. Yeah. Just to basically what I would like to do now is just to take the attention of you all regarding the where ethics of knowledge comes in this in CTIs. Yeah, what we need to do. So I think first of all we need to develop this branch of knowledge called ethics of knowledge, of course, from the Islamic perspective, but it can be comparative with between Islam and other cultures. Yeah. So ethics of knowledge. So ethics is not only about doing things, what action is right and what action is wrong. There is only one aspect of ethics. But what is largely ignored in the academia is ethics of knowledge, different from the ethics of action. Ethics of doing things is different from ethics of knowing things. They're two different things. So what I'm saying is what is a bit neglected is the ethics of knowing. Now, of course, we begin first of all with the positive one. The positive one is we should pursue knowledge, and most knowledge are useful. Basically, in general, all knowledge is useful except it's not the other way around. All knowledge is bad except. No. All knowledge is good except. So, pursue. Rob visit Myanmar. My Lord, increase me in knowledge. Of course, the dua it has to be increased in good knowledge, useful knowledge. And then abstain. The other one now, the negation. In other words, we abstain from useless, unbeneficial, harmful knowledge. As the prophets praised, A'udhu billah min ilmin la yanfa. Allah, seek knowledge, we seek in Allah from knowledge that is not beneficial. La yanfa. Yeah. So one stream is we pursue that knowledge until somehow that is we come to a situation when that knowledge is misused or something. So today there are many harmful knowledge. Yeah. Harmful knowledge, and today certainly related to AI. There can be many forms of the harmful knowledge. So we need to focus also on this. Yeah, we need to be expert. Ethics of production of AI technology. Ethics of production. What kind? The possibility of producing all kinds of AI technology, so much you can do. Yeah, the best is there. But we need to exercise now. From the Maqasid Asyariah perspective, meaning we have the category of haram, wajib, yeah, mubah, mandub, that, yeah, makruh. Yes, we are using the same principle from the Sharia, from Islamic law, but now applied to the area, to the new field of AI, basically. Yeah. Of course, one of the maqasid and purposes of the Sharia is preservation of the health of the intellect reason. Well, yeah. Now, back to the issue. So, does AI promote that health, or is it a hindrance to health? It's something that we to study to the yeah. And then basically, as the preservation of health, yeah. Basically what the maqasid implies, yeah, preservation of health and creativity of an eye. We need to preserve that health and creativity. Then, of course, the ethics of application of AI. Not production, but application. So if in the field of production you have ethical issues, in the field of application, what more? Yeah? You have this ethics of application. In general, what we are going to do is we need to counter, countering use of AI for destructive purposes. Cybercrime is a growing menace, for example. Yeah. We all have been praised. Have become, we are praised to this. I know some of the professors in the university have been, basically become victims to scams and so on. Yeah. So this is one area that CTIs can, inshallah, I'll be looking into this proper study research to deal with cybercrime. Where we will basically I call the another Nicola can help in this. All right. So on top of all that, we need to empower AI for constructive purposes, which again is a wide field open to us. Yeah. How can we empower AI? It's not to get rid of any of it, but then to empower, because that this is possible within Allah's within God's scheme. This is the hikmah. Yeah, in other words, there must be things in which Allah has permitted AI as a reality, human society, because it can serve constructive purposes, but it can also serve for destructive purposes. Okay, I think that's the thing. Where is my conclusion, my concluding remarks? Concluding remarks, please. This is more da'wah. It's simply the IIN must create a robust, energetic, creative, and resourceful CTIs that transcend the limitations of artificial intelligence. Allah is the supreme intelligence that creates, owns, and rules all intelligences. Prophetic intelligence is the perfect model for the development of all creaturely intelligence. No intelligence can surpass prophetic intelligence. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Datuk. So now I thank Professor Amir Akramin for being with us today and to help us deepen the conversation and critically engage with the ideas that have been presented by Emeritus Professor Datuk Dr. Asman Bakar. We hope that you can give us your perspective and insights, especially in helping us reflect more deeply in terms of how do we think about the implications of AI for curriculum, for learning, and more specifically for our values. So I now invite Professor Amir Akramin Shafi'i to share his views as the discussant for this. Thank you. Please.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay. Ya Allah, okay. Give me the strength because this is a very difficult one. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Professor Linda. Okay, so first, maybe I would like to begin this by congratulating CTAIS for organizing this inaugural lecture series, and more importantly, okay, for positioning. Okay, so this has already been mentioned many times, okay, by Datuk just now, for positioning CTIs as a platform to bring together AI researchers, scholars, or the humanities thinkers grounded in Islamic epistemology within IIUM. So this is maybe one of the biggest role that you have now. Okay. The establishment of the CTIs is not merely administrative. Okay, so it is a civilizational necessity. Okay, based on this. Okay, so if AI research to be pursued meaningfully at IUM, it must be pursued collectively, purposely, and within a Tawhidic framework. Okay, CTAIS has the potential to become the intellectual home where Tawhidic AI is not only discussed, but rigorously theorized, developed, and also evaluated. Okay, so the lecture that we listened just now, okay, from Dr. Osman Bakar, okay, on AI and the development of critical thinking is therefore very appropriate for the first lecture. Okay, it reminds us that the pursuit of AI cannot be value free. Okay, from the standpoint of Tawhidi epistemology, knowledge is bounded by meaning, ethics, and accountability. Okay, AI must be developed and deployed within an ethical framework rooted in values, okay, value that recognize the unity of knowledge, the moral and purpose of learning, and the responsibility of human as agency. Okay, without this anchoring, AI risks becoming powerful but directionless, efficient but also unwise. Okay, so okay, what we have listened just now from Islamic perspective, okay, critical thinking is not an isolated skill. Okay, it is an aspect of creative thinking, reflection, and also intellectual discernment. Creativity in Islam is not merely novelty, but the ability to see meaning, relationship, and also purpose within the creation. However, okay, what also been mentioned just now, okay, we are witnessing a gradual decline in reflective and creative capacities, okay, particularly due to over-dependence on AI-generated outputs. Okay, when AI provide instant answers, summaries, and solutions, the learner may bypass the struggle. I think we felt that before. Okay, that it is essential for deep understanding. Critical thinking is part of creative thinking, okay, and weakens when intellectual efforts is outsourced, okay, too readily or freely to AI. So this brings us to what we call this the question of authenticity of knowledge. Okay, in the Islamic intellectual tradition, knowledge is okay authentic where two condition is met. Okay, you mentioned only two. That's four, but you mentioned only two. Okay, so there must be a clearly defined subject matter. Okay, and then there must be the discipline must be governed by principles and also fundamental assumptions. So AI-generated knowledge often obscure both. It presents information without disciplinary boundaries and conclusion without epistemic premises. So this is dangerous because knowledge detached from its foundation become easily manipulatable, okay, and difficult to verify. Related to this is also erosion of to the art of problem solving, okay, which is increasingly reduced to answer finding rather than learning. If we take mathematics as an analogy, okay, the true value of solving a problem lies not on the final answer, but in the reasoning process. So the formulation of the struggle, the verification, okay, so what happened now, AI collapse all this, okay, because they just give an output to the students. Okay, so okay, when learners keep the intellectual journey, they lose the art of learning itself. Okay, so okay, we experience this because we use students, okay, to do presentation. Okay, and we ask them how you justify the answer. Okay, ChatGPT told me this. So that's just what happened past week. So now, but the other critical concern that we have is the loss of time and space for reflection, okay, and contemplation by using the akal. Okay, reflection require basically a slowness, okay, a silence, okay, and cognitive patience. Okay, basically the qualities increasingly absent in this AI accelerated environment. Okay, when thinking become reactive rather than contemplative, and the akal is underutilized, and wisdom, okay, become actually scarce. So this leads naturally to the problem of over-dependence on artificial intelligence at the expense of natural intelligence. So AI, okay, as we know, should assist, not replace human cognition. Okay, yet we are increasingly see the reverse. human adjusting their thinking to accommodate the machines. Okay, and then the invasion, basically this is not very sound. Okay, and so then we must restore back the traditional art of thinking. Okay, where logic, reflection, and imagination and ethical reasoning should be in the rightful place and the center of education. So, and then it's also crucial to remember, okay, that the fundamental ontological truth is that AI is created by natural intelligence. So, as mentioned again and again, AI, okay, as a creation, okay, cannot be greater than the creator. So when AI is treated, okay, as superior or autonomous, then we actually commit a very much a categorical error. Okay, and this is because AI does not possess understanding, intention, or moral awareness. In fact, okay, what I've been mentioned again and again, they only mimic, okay, what natural intelligence does. Because this is why the study of intelligence itself must go beyond computation. Okay, intelligence is not very problem solving, consciousness, meaning making, and also moral awareness, where we have to recognize the hierarchy of natural intelligence, the physical, the imagination, the imaginal, the intellectual or rational, and the cardiac or spiritual intelligence. So this is where, while modern AI now, in my opinion, is just a shallow abstraction of the rational level. So this is even without, as of now, even still without consciousness. Okay, so ignoring this, okay, we flatten the human being, okay, and we can misguide the AI development. So we must also address the ethics of AI production, not just its use. Okay, so from an Islamic perspective, okay, we have to go particularly to the lens of Maqasid al-Sharia. Okay, so AI development must preserve religion, life, intellect, lineage, and also property. Okay, because technologies that harm intellect, distort truth, or erode moral responsibility, even it is, as of now, is very technologically impressive, okay, are fundamentally unethical. So at the same time, okay, we also teach us, okay, from going into useless, unbeneficial, and also harmful knowledge. Okay, so however, okay, this does not imply ignorance. Okay, certainly harmful domains must be still studied, okay, to promote them, but to counter destructive use AI. So this is clear, okay, and then just for so that we can empower AI for beneficial and also constructive purposes. So therefore, I think in closing, okay, Dato really mentioned this. Okay, CTAIS, okay, must evolve, okay, into a robust, energetic, creative, and also resourceful center. Okay, where one that integrates AI experts within all fields. Okay, in IUM, whether in epistemology, ethics, psychology, or cognitive sciences. Okay, and through this integration, okay, IUM can offer a genuine alternative to dominant AI paradigm and contribute meaningfully to global discourse. So, Prof, okay, so this you really provide me, okay, so this a lot of writing, okay, and with the help of AI also. Okay, okay, and then this is provide the philosophical compass for this journey. Okay, it reminds us that AI is not merely a technological question, but a question of who we are, how we think, and what kind of civilization we wish to build. Okay, so for this, we are profoundly grateful. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Professor Amir Akramin Shafi'i, from the Office of Deputy Rector of Academy and Internationalization, for your piece, brief but meaningful piece on the topic that we have been discussing today and have been presented by the Rector, which is artificial intelligence and the development of critical thinking. I must remind us all that we are here in this Senate hall because we are academics. So what is the responsibility of academics? Actually, to have wisdom and to be responsible for the knowledge that we create. Not create, but we actually encourage the dissemination, because we don't create the knowledge. But the thing is, through artificial intelligence, we rely, and of course, our students rely on the production of knowledge from tools of artificial intelligence. So we must remember first and foremost that we are academics. We are in this hall, in this university, because we would like to be responsible for the knowledge that we share and we propagate and we disseminate amongst our students. So in that case, I think it is very important that topic of development of critical thinking, which is very, very, I think it is very wanting amongst our students and ourselves as well. I always say, before you show the students, you must ask yourself first, do we have the knowledge and are we responsible in permeating, in disseminating the knowledge? So we have to ask that of ourselves. Are we responsible in that? So I think that I have to do the closing now. So I think a lot of challenges have been faced, have been discussed, that we will try our best to address these challenges. And therefore, the closing remark that I have for today is that Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Any questions? Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did
I have a question.
discuss whether there is any question. Yes, please.
Yes, I have a question here.
Yes.
Madam,
Yes.
I put up my hand first and I have a question here. Thank you so much.
Please introduce
Now,
yourself.
Now, the major problem is losing the individual self. Now, we have lost our individual self to society through Marxism, and then through the social states. And we are losing our individuality, from time to time. Now, with all the data that we have, which may endanger our individual self, so-called self. And because God is a self, and we are the self, and the particular angel that brought down the knowledge is a individual self. And we are in danger of losing individuality. And I think that is very, very important, that we should not have a kind of AI that bring intelligence to apply and lose the individuality. So maintaining individuality, I think, is from the religious point of view, from every religion, not only Islam, but from other religions too. The self-individuality has to be preserved and meaningful, and it will bring a natural human entity, right? So I just want to mention about this individuality. Are we going to lose individuality with AI?
That's a very good question. Are we going to lose individuality because we are humans, we are individuals? Will a technology such as AI allow us to lose our individuality? Of course, the answer is no, but how is the other question that needs to be discussed. How do we not lose our individuality? Anyone care to? Yes, please. If you can introduce yourself.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Abdul Halim. Alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah. I'm so happy to hear Prof. Osman in the flesh. The last I attended his talk was in Brunei, where I did my PhD. Yeah, Prof, I hope you remember me. So I think that I'm very thankful to Professor to have elucidated on several interesting points. There are so many, but I think I want to focus on a few. But before that, I want to, the comment by Professor about individuality, I think is a very important point. Prof. Osman mentioned about two consciousness. He said consciousness of time and space. But there's another one, which is consciousness of the self, which is very, very important in philosophical discourse today. Because who is the self? And because they're going back, because this is actually the spring forth from the analysis of AI. Is AI a self? Is AI a sentient being? So all of these are major issues in philosophy. I hope I indulge myself because I'm in philosophy. I major in philosophy. So and I'm dabbling into AI for many years. But more to the point is when Professor Osman said that we need to understand what exactly is critical thinking. And he said that critical thinking is an aspect of creative thinking. However, in the literature, that is not the case. We have, for instance, Howard Gardner, who wrote a very famous book entitled Multiple Intelligences. And I think many of you who are in the education background may be familiar with that book. He and all the other researchers are saying that critical thinking and creative thinking, they are like two, I'm using more Islamic parlance, two wings, two sides. Okay, it's not one as an aspect of the other. It's not a subset relationship, but two aspects of thinking. So we have creative thinking and then you have critical thinking, which are two aspects of thinking. In terms of development, I just want to share with you the experience of National University of Singapore, where I'm from. Many years ago, about 25 years ago, what they did was that they called the captains of industry. They called all the major captains of industry, and then they asked them, the university called them, and they asked, what is lacking in our graduates? Interesting question. I don't know, maybe you have done that yourself. So in Malaysia, if you have not, you have to do it. So they call the captains of industry the best, corporates, leaders, CEOs and all that. So they said, okay, what is lacking in our graduates? So they replied, they said that there are a few, but one of them is that your graduates they do not have proper thinking skills. So they, inshallah, what's going on, NUS, we are the best in the world, one of the best of the world, so you have to do something. So they said that, okay, we have to teach critical thinking as a separate module. Critical thinking development, right? So then the few questions comes about. First is, which faculty is going to handle critical thinking teaching? I don't know if UIA has it already. Wallahu alam, I don't know. But you have to think about it if you don't have. But if you do, then which faculty? Do you have a faculty which actually have this module to teach critical thinking? That's number one. Number two is the skills. Who has the ability to teach? So in NUS, they came up with the answer. The answer is, okay, it is to be taught by in the philosophy department. That's why I was there and I was teaching critical thinking. Why is it in the philosophy department? Because it is in the philosophy department that we teach logic. And of course, critical thinking, in terms of mainstream, it springs from logic. So I taught logic, so I also teach critical thinking. And of course, I'm also familiar with mantik, but we don't teach mantik there. But this is the thing that we have to think about, and in terms of development of critical thinking, and especially now with the use of AI, then we have to also come up with other things that we have to think about. How do we use AI as a tool to teach critical thinking? Okay. Because I've done some programming myself. I've done some AI programming earlier on. It's a long story. Maybe after this we can have a chat of doing a program that actually evaluate deductive arguments, the syllogism, if you are familiar with logic. So I think we have to look into that. But of course, my area is also, I mean, as Professor Osman would be familiar. My area is actually Islamic philosophy and comparative religion. So I also think that we need to, of course, the Tawhidic paradigm is very, very important. But then we have to think about in terms of does AI have akal? Because for us, from our worldview, when we talk about akal, which is the faculty of reasoning. Okay, do we, in what sense? Because in the Western worldview, they're saying, AI already can think. And in fact, I'm sure some of you who are familiar with AI literature, they are saying that we are heading towards what they call singularity. You can go and Google AI singularity, and it's very interesting because singularity suggests tawhidic. So this is something that I think we have to explore. I mean, I didn't know. I came here and then I found out. Oh, you have a center for tawhidic AI studies. So I think that's very, very interesting. You have to really look into this idea of intelligence and akal. Is it what is going on? What is how you connect our conception of akal, which is tafakkarun and all this, with the kind of intelligence that is exhibited by AI. Wallahu a'lam bishawab. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we now have another
Yeah.
question from there. Yes.
My name is Yusri Abu Rayyan. I'm from Tunisia. I'm the chairman of Noor Eye. Noor Eye, we are a startup specialized in giving AI-driven solution, online solution for Islamic topics. So I would like first to agree with our huge professor about that AI is an imitation of NA. AI is it don't think. It doesn't think. AI just help us to extend habits of thinking. So when we talk about ethics, they're not ethics for AI, they're ethics for the human being using AI or developing AI. With AI, you can be a company like Palantir, developing a way to kill innocent Palestinians, or you can be a technology helping in hospitals to save lives. So the ethics is and will be always about the one who is using, not about the technology itself. And because it's the one who is using, then we apply the same rules as a doctor in Maqasid ad-Din, and I'm saying Maqasid ad-Din, not Maqasid al-Sharia, which is larger. I can tell you that we have to apply the same. It's about the same ethical we use to any knowledge when we are Muslim. It's so easy as that. I just wanted to give my own experience. 20 years ago in my country, I used to be in attending a meeting like this about the digitalization revolution and how to avoid the fracture with the Western digitalization revolution. 20 years after, we're still organizing these meetings. We didn't do anything. So now we are 120 years far from the Western countries. And the problem now for Muslims country that and Muslims and southern country that we have still didn't close the digitalization gap, and we have the AI challenge. So we are in the middle of a very problematic future problem. For universities, for example, I'm working with Al-Bukhari University and Al-Bukhari group on how AI will change literally the education and the university system in 2040. 2040 is tomorrow. It's not so far. So if we don't take action now, we will be dropped off the train very easily. We're working on, in our company, for example, on very practical things. Like, for example, developing an AI-driven platform for selling ebook store, to try to catch the gap with Amazon. Why? Because the local and the Arabic and the Muslim platforms now, they read the submitted book by human being. So you need like 1 month for a platform like eCentral, the Malay one, to accept a book and publish it. When it takes 5 seconds on Amazon, because they use AI. So AI could be used like any other thing, like in a good way or in a bad way. Just I want to conclude with a very, very positive conclusion. A lot of people try to scare us about the future of humanity, like individuality or AI will replace human being, destroy the humanity. It's not true. They're lying to you. They want to make a trend. It's not true. As a Muslim, I believe that the AI, a human creation, will never, ever, ever beat NI, the Allah creation. That's the conclusion. Thank you very much. And thank you so much for this meeting. It's so important. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jazakallahu khairan. Yes, is there a question? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Please, we want to encourage dialogues.
Yeah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'm Ramli, ex UN lecturer. Have enjoyed Prof. Osman, Dato' Osman presentation. So congratulations, and also my good friend Prof. Amir. So nice to see you. Very good discussion. I imagine, before I came here, that we're going to have brain extinction, human brain extinction, and brain rots, all those things. But I'm very happy after hearing the presentation that probably we can do the bridging, between the human intelligence, human brain, and also the AI, so complementing, I thought that what is, if you can describe in 1 or 3 sentences, how we can take home, from what we learned today, so that we can spread to the people, like just now a gentleman here said that we shouldn't be afraid of, I'm not afraid, both are important, actually, but how we harmonize it, that's what, so that we don't have a brain rot and also brain extinction that I'm a bit worrying now for the future generations, Yeah, that's all.
Thank you very much for that thought. So we have another there. Sorry.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Scott. I'm with the International Institute of Future Studies here at IIUM. Thank you, Prof. Dato' Osman, for your words, as well as you, Prof. Amir, and Prof. Azlinda for putting this whole thing together for us. I feel like there need to be a few distinctions made, because there could be elements of confusion that might be entering the discussion. I think a simple solution to the problem is we need more NI, we need more of the natural intelligence. But we're living in a world that's far more complex than that. And so we're not just dealing with items that are just true or untrue in your terms, but we're also dealing with items that have a bit of partial truth and partial untruth. And so we have to get beyond some of our own binary thinking in that. That's very natural to natural intelligence. But also I think it's important to make the distinction, if you look at how we create knowledge, you have data, then you have intelligence, and then you build up to wisdom, and perhaps beyond wisdom, knowledge, then from knowledge you build on to wisdom. If we look at it in that sort of a distinction, we have to stop thinking of intelligence as being the same as smartness. Intelligence is just accumulation of data in that sense. And so I think when we talk about whether or not AI is thinking, that's where I say AI is not yet thinking. Perhaps one day it could, though. That possibility is still out there, right? So But some of the issues we're having, whether this is issues of individuality or collectivism or some of the issues that you were addressing, these are problems that we have with ourselves, with the way we actually are thinking, whether we're using any sort of tools, technologies, sources. So we have to fix those problems first before we start looking at how we might fix them through the technology. Now we might be able to do that simultaneously with a little teamwork, I suppose, in that sense. And so one thing I'm a little worried about, so a partial disagreement I have with you, Prof. Osman, is the abstention from the useless, unbeneficial, and harmful knowledge. I, not necessarily, and maybe this is just semantics. We might actually agree, because I agree with everything else you're saying. I just wanted to maybe supplement what you're saying with, we should look into these things. We need to not just look at how we create how we come about intelligence, which comes from a variety of sources, not just AI, but how we build knowledge and also how we build ignorance. And so it's very important to also study ignorance and also how we develop the biases we develop, because even the languages we're using, the worldviews we all come from, how are these informing a lot of the thoughts that are in the way? And so then we can get about, because I think the ultimate aim is actually building knowledge, and often the simple answer is we need more. We need our perspective to get out there, so that, because right now the perspectives are obvious. There's the digital divide, but there's also the AI divide. What is being inputted is largely from Western male white viewpoints. Sorry. But so the answer is, oh, we have to challenge that by bringing in more non-Western, non-white, female, or beyond, whatever, ideas. But we also have to do that with a more comprehensive look, which this might be the Tawhidic epistemological approach, to make sure that we aren't just falling for the same traps and actually creating ignorance when in fact we were trying to create knowledge all along. So with that, thank you.
Thank you very much. So there is another comment there. Sorry,
Assalamualaikum
missing,
warahmatullahi
yeah.
wabarakatuh. I'm Abdul Wahab. It's kind of interesting. Everybody has concern about the humans. So we have facilities where we can actually measure human brains. And we have that facilities even in the university itself. And we're expanding the facilities. We can understand, we can really measure, we know the intelligence, we can measure them, we can profile. In this particular case, I hope that these tools are also available, for us to be able to profile, let's say, our own intelligence, in this particular case. So it's available, the technology are there. I hope that it can be of useful to those who wants to really do profiling and really have a good idea. Thanks.
Inshallah, Prof. Wahab. Thank you. So I have to now face this side. And if there are any questions, yes.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Muhammad Al-Tahir Al-Misawi. I'm not going to make any submissions in terms of discussing or arguing for or against AI. Of course, we are all, one way or another, enmeshed in this new world, whether we like it or not. But what I really want to suggest, and especially with this new center, that in order to raise the literacy of the university staff in the different kulliyas, if you can think of initiating a program to just educate people, academic staff and perhaps also administrative staff, about some of the fundamentals and the essentials of AI, what is behind it, what is the foundational concepts about it, how it functions, at least the initial knowledge about that. So at least people know. Of course, some may be advanced in that regard, but not all are in the same level. So perhaps we can start with this kind of thing. So you can think of a program, and of course it can be organized either at the level of each and every kuliya, or you bring together different kuliyas. But I think there is need for this thing, so that people, once they have this kind of knowledge, they can think about it the way they are disposed to think. I think without such knowledge, because as they say, a conception of the topic or judging a thing requires knowledge about it. And since most people may not have the proper, appropriate knowledge about it, I think they need to be educated. If you think about that, and with experts like Prof. Amir and others, I think it will be very beneficial to everyone.
Thank you very much.
may I?
Actually, in our strategic plan, we have outlined several activities. So this is just the first. The lecture series is just for all, but there will be training programs and various types of activities. So what you have suggested is very much in our strategic plan, in that we will be approaching different divisions as well as different kuliah for different levels of knowledge. In terms of, yes.
May I ask something from behind? My name is Razi. I'm the student that Prof mentioned as doing the Mystery of Time studies. Okay, my name is Razi. My question is this, since this center is a new center, I'm wondering, do you have plans to develop your own software program, your alternative to ChatGPT, where you put the values that we talk about? Because we need to have our own value-driven software. So we have our own sort of ChatGPT, which eventually we start with the university, and then maybe it becomes reference. And then if so, I suggest also an option when you ask something, and you know, the normal ChatGPT ask something, then they give the answers. But this is an option where you also give, if you ask for it, you give the steps. So people actually learn how a certain answer is arrived at. I'm just wondering if you have that in plan.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Okay, everyone is a doctor here. So yes, just to share the plan that we have. So we are divided, CTAIS is divided into 3 sections. Research is one of the sections, and we eventually will develop our own technology based on the language model. So that is just one part. And then we also have the academic part and the linkages part. But we have to build up our strengths first. So that is very much in our plan. So, but I think we will share what our plans are in the website that we will have, as well as the CTAIS website. We'll have the plan as well as the AI policy that has been approved by the Board of Governors. And I think recordings such as this will also be put on the website, inshallah.
Can I
Yes.
just say that
Okay.
we are working on this project? We are developing this software. We call it Islamic Authenticator. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, Noor Eye is very much in our radar. So please, I have a lot of questions for you actually, but please allow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Professor. My name is Muhammad Zain Musa. I'm a historian. I started using AI, especially ChatGPT, Prof. Ozan, and then I found that it's not reliable because AI, to my knowledge, is built by NI. So my question is whether there are AIs or more or less intelligence. Second question is that Prof has mentioned about fake AI. I wonder if there is a guided AI. You know, especially history. The last history, you have to present the facts before you analyze. and some facts are hidden. Maybe that intelligent AI is less intelligent the other, so that it can present no other fact that we know. There again is we use our critical thinking with our build up knowledge through the years. Then I think it's very difficult in my field of specialization history to rely on AI. And then we have to develop what you call a critical thinking. And critical thinking, we have to develop our knowledge. You have to have broad our knowledge before you come to analyze and make any good conclusion, inshallah. Wassalamualaikum.
Thank you very much. Yes, because we would like to end with the rector's comments addressing the questions, but we encourage dialogues first. Yes, please.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The name is Ashraf Zakwan. I'm not a lecturer or any kind of big superstars like you guys. But first, I would love to answer. I want to take we all to a segment of about how to use AI. AI cannot replace our critical thinking or problem solving thinking because AI doesn't have a brain. It is just a collection of data that can address specific question, although that data is very big compared to what I have in my mind, which is so small. So I guess that the game need to be changed. We can no longer ask like what is the Bernoulli principle, kind of like that question, which is just one step and then you get a question. We must play on something that need a few layers of thinking. Those kind of thing needs to be asked to the student. Okay. And then are you aware that some corporate players already venture quite deep in these AI things? Like, for example, Malaysia has its own chat GPT called Ilmu. This one was developed by YTL, but of course it is not that good because I went for the launching and the robot freeze. So there's still a big gap there, but if university can collaborate with such massive organization which has unlimited funding, to be honest, we all know who YTL is and how big is their funding can go. So they can do quite miraculously with the funding that they have. But again, they are all, not they are all, but the top people is just businessmen. Businessmen, they don't do too much of thinking. They just think whether it can gain their money or not.
It's the best thing.
Okay.
Is it okay if I stop you there?
Yes, yes.
So that because we are almost 5 o'clock, so I would now like to invite our rector to give his closing remarks.
Okay, Prof. Alinda, quickly, briefly, it's already 5 o'clock. I'm very happy to see the audience today. I think so. This lecture has generated discussion, good discussion. Of course, discussions on AI will not end, will not end, will continue and continue and continue, precisely because we are talking about something which is, which in a sense is just infinite, is intelligent. The question of intelligence. So, but I'm happy, and hopefully this lecture is a kind of a warming up to more things to come. The next lecture is Professor. By the way, is it on there? Is it on? The next one is yours? Oh, not yet. Okay. Okay. Anyway, certainly in 1 month's time. Yeah. So thank you. I see some old friends like Dr. Halim. He's from Singapore. No, in Singapore. I met him many times before, and Professor Ramli, from Professor of Biology at UM, my old colleague there. So it's nice to see you all. But I think that's something that we need to make observation. Yeah, first of all, there are different kinds of minds studying AI, not just one kind of mind. The difference is both from the starting point is really important. What is the starting point? What are the assumptions? What are the assumptions that each mind makes about mental reality, about physical reality, about reality as whole? Different assumptions will give rise to different narratives, about intelligence, and of course will lead to different conclusion, or only basically confirm what their assumptions are. So in other words, we will discover that. Yeah. So anyway, I just want to, because something mentioned, but for example, Dr. Halim said that about consciousness of time and space. I maintain it's true. You said consciousness of self. Yeah, but it is the self that is conscious of time. It is the self that is conscious of space. Now, when the self is conscious of the self, and not the child, yeah, yes, at some point, the what you call self-reflection that going on, the self thinks about itself, yeah, it will still do it. But then, at that level, when the self talks about the self, reflects on its own, then it encounters different conceptions of time and space, no longer the same time and space to which we live. The space in basically in the spiritual space, spiritual time. Yeah. So it's only two, brother. You can't run away from that. Yeah. Now, what I want to say is this. Yeah. About the question of the creature, or rather, the creator is always greater than the creature. But there's very good teaching in Islam, in particular. God creates creatures, and God creates in His image. God is intelligence. God is intelligence. So He will create human intelligence. He creates human intelligence that reflects divine intelligence. So now, human being wants to become creator, to create AI. So the AI that the human being creates reflects the creator, the mind of the creator. So it depends now who the creator is. So we who believe in the Islamic, from the Islamic beliefs, for example, we want to create AI in the image of that, in the image of the believing Muslim. Yeah, that is important. Those who do not believe in God, those who do not believe in the spiritual world, those who do not believe in this life, those who don't, basically the materialism view, of course, they will want to create intelligence in that. So that's it's always be the case. Always this competition between AI culture that we want to build, which is based on our belief system, based on our values, and another culture of AI. That contest will always be there. The question now, who is going to win? That's all. So we look forward to you all coming again. I hope that you can say more. If you are not able to say now, please reserve that for next month, inshallah. Yeah. So let this be open discussion where we stand to be corrected and we stand to influence others and to be influenced, inshallah. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And thank you very much Yang Amat Berbahagia Professor Emeritus Dato' Dr. Isman Bakar, the Rector of IIUM, for those closing words, and also for Professor Dr. Amir Akramin Shafi'i for a very, very also meaningful, short but meaningful piece, who is our official discussion, and also for the 10, I counted 10 questions from the audience. I counted 10 actually. I hope there's more. Actually, I think there's more, but I managed to jot down 10 questions that have been shared by the audience today. So these insights actually not only enriched our understanding of what is artificial intelligence and also critical thinking, but it also provides us with a clear intellectual and ethical compass for CTAIS as we begin our journey, inshallah. So with this first CTAIS academic gathering, it is more than just conclusion of a lecture given by our rector nonetheless, but also the questions that have been forwarded. It marks a beginning. It's the start of a scholarly commitment entrusted to us, CTAIS, by the IIUM leadership to advance Tawhidic, ethical and human-centered approaches to artificial intelligence. We at CTAIS receive this mandate with humility and a strong sense of amanah or trust, inshallah. As we look to the future, we also aspire that this will become a platform for sustained leadership, scholarship, dialogue, and collaboration, and nurturing ideas amongst us, amongst the audience, to guide the technological progress with wisdom, responsibility. I think that's a key word, wisdom and responsibility, and purpose, in line with IIUM's mission of knowledge. Okay, so on behalf of the IIUM CTAIS, I thank the IIUM rector, the leaders at UMC, our distinguished speaker, and all of you here for making time for your confident support and engagement. We pray that the knowledge that you have shared with us will continue to bear fruit in our teaching, research, and service to society. And with that, I formally bring this inaugural session to a close. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide our efforts, bless this beginning, and grant us wisdom as we move forward. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, inshallah. And I think now we have a token of appreciation for our speaker from the center, that we hope that the Dean of Kuliah ICT can present to the real fruits.
Artificial fruit?
It's real fruits.
I'm not sure it is artificial.
It's real fruits.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Malam ni Madani punya lecture.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Writers reminded me to announce that tonight, 8 o'clock, Syarahan Madani Sirik yang ke-10. The last one for this Syarahan Madani. all of you are invited in this room.
Can we have a photography session for a while? Everyone to be behind rector, please. Thank you very much.